Anybody that saw that he promised to hunt down and make them pay. Here to react, host of the Callahan Show, Jerry Callahan, and author of 13 and a Half Reasons Not to Be a Liberal, Judd Dunning. Judd, I'll start with you. Your impression of what's going on in Kabul, or your impression of how the president is handling it?
Well, good to see you both. Thank you. Listen, first of all, our prayers to the families of the troops, the people who have fallen. I think that's the most important thing. And for the people that left in second priority by this failing, placid, foggy president, it's sad to see how this is being managed. I mean, he's a deer in the headlights right now. The way he's looking at the teleprompter, you think he's going to lean forward and sniff it. He doesn't seem to have any plan whatsoever at the moment. So I don't think we can trust that Biden's going to actually take action, but I think the pressure is going to be put upon Nancy Pelosi. I think the pressure is going to be put upon Democrats to preserve 2022. Meanwhile, they're focusing on H.R. 4 and they're focusing on $325 trillion of pork back home. So I think the right action that we needed to see was the GOP just did, which is moving forward to suggest an impeachment for Blinken. So maybe some pressure will have him act, but I don't know if we could actually rely on Joe Biden as being the tip of the spear for retaliatory American strength. He's not showing that in any of his actions lately.
Jerry, let's go to you. Your thoughts on, despite the attack, President Biden says that he is going to continue evacuations. Listen. And
we will not be deterred by terrorists. We will not let them stop our mission. We will continue the evacuation.
So, Jerry, how do you think that President Biden has handled this so far?
Well, I think it would be hard for him to screw it up any worse. It would be hard for him to look any worse. I thought yesterday's press conference was, under the circumstances, as bad as it gets. I mean, he sounded obviously, he sounded tired and just worn out, and there was just no anger, no outrage, which is what most of America was feeling. We know what just happened. We knew soon we'd get to meet those 12 Marines and the Navy corpsmen. We'd meet them and our heart would break. And this guy sounded like he was talking about, a budget deal or a tropical storm.
Yeah. And
some of the answers were just bizarre. I think the problem he has, it's really easy to understand what's going on here. It's not complicated. He is trusting the Taliban to work security. The Taliban, our enemy for the last 20 years, is working security. And my question would be, how did that go? How did that go? I mean, it's one thing for the Hells Angels to work security for the Rolling Stones, but if someone goes up on stage and punches Mick in the face, then there's some explaining to do. These guys this suicide bomber got past security, which was the Taliban. That didn't quite work. And by the way, the Taliban also let these guys out of prison. They let them out of prison on Bagram. So how they could be considered in any way working with us, for us, is just bizarre.
Jerry, talk about the anger. Who's the anger directed at? Because all of us know that that ISIS-K, whoever those people are, did this. But there's a lot of anger against the President of the United States for this. And I think a lot of people are feeling that.
Good. They should be. To me, it doesn't. The thing didn't make any sense from the beginning. And Peter Doocy always asked that same question. Everybody's for withdrawing. Everybody is for withdrawing. Not the way you did it. And every liberal I debate on this says, what about Trump? What about Trump? I think we can all agree Trump would have gotten the people, our people and our stuff out before he got the military out. The way we did it is just insane. And now that we're finding out that we left 600,000 weapons, we left 200 aircraft, we left Bagram, we left an embassy. I honestly don't understand. I feel like I've read a lot about it. I've heard from a lot of people. I still don't understand the motivation, and I still don't understand why our president wasn't outraged at what happened yesterday. Think of this. There was not just a suicide bomber. There was also guys firing at our guys. Mm-hmm. Did we fire back? Were we allowed to fire back? That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, and Judd, providing a list of Americans and allies to the Taliban.
Yeah, I mean, I am 100% alive with Jerry. I think you could go through a series of outrage toward this situation, but the bottom line is right now, is the priority getting out our Americans? I think that's the only thing that matters. And when you're referencing Trump, if you heard his very inspiring, very presidential speech that he just gave last night, that Don Jr. got out there as well, he stood against evil. He called them evil, and he called for us to protect our citizens. So I think the issue of whether we were supposed to be in Afghanistan doesn't matter. I think the fact that good leadership course adjusts in the moment, and that's what we're not seeing. And I think our outrage is, how is Joe going to stand up fiercely? But let's ask the question, has he ever stood up fiercely? And look at the way Kamala arrived at the border. I mean, is there any second string to come in and be strong again? Who's going to be the voice of America right now, really, against the Taliban when he's this ineffective?
Well, we'll leave that as a question then. But Jerry and Judd both stand by, because coming up,